Okay, this is prac 1 for INF 164. So with this program we have to enable a user to enter his or her first name into, let's go to the form actually, I've designed them, so here. So we're going to enter a name and a password. If the user already exists, we basically check the password here against the one that we write in a file. So the password we write in is saved in a file. The file name is basically what the user has entered for his or her name. If the user exists and enters the password, the entered password is checked against the password that is written to the file. If this is correct, then the button appears, which can be named continue, which will open a new form. And if it's incorrect, then we must display the appropriate error message. For the second form, we're going to be linking forms in this exercise. For the second form, we use a multi-line text box, which is just a text box that you can drag up and down to make bigger or smaller. And then from there, we're going to, in that text box, whatever passwords the user enters will be written to a separate file. Basically, it's a password bank if you think of it that way. And on that form, we're going to have two buttons, read and write, which will allow the user to read the information that was written to the file previously and then write new information or update the information currently in that file. We're also going to use exception handling for this program. Cool. So I've already designed the form. You can see we have two labels. Okay, all of these controls are found on the left hand side. So labels, two text boxes, just down there, and two buttons. Cool. Don't forget to rename your controls, so like btn login, btn continue, txt password, and so on. The second form is just a multi-line text box, and to make that multi-line text box, you basically click on the little arrow in your text box and select that. Cool. Two buttons, read from file and write to file. So let's start. I've already commented the steps, so we're just going to code under them. So we'll provide error handling first. This error handling is for blank fields. Oops. So we've got if this txt name dot text equals empty, or txt password dot text equals empty. Cool. So then we display a message box. Please fill in the missing details. Okay. Now this will basically check if these fields have been left empty, and then we'll do that first, else do the following. Just put that in there. Okay, so first we got to open, actually we're going to remember renaming the file based on what the user entered as his or her name. So we have to store that somewhere. We'll create a variable string, let's call it name. It's going to equal txt name.text. Okay. Now we store that in there, and remember we're using exception handling, so we'll put try and catches in. So all the code that you think could terminate the program abnormally or throw an error, we put it inside the try within those brackets, and then we account for the error by using a catch statement, which we'll get to now. Okay, so now we open the file. Just remember it's stream reader. Call it input file. You can refer to the lecture video for the writing and reading as well. Input file equals new stream reader. Now this part we put in the name here because we want to actually save the file with the name that the user entered. Okay, and then we put the extension, which is txt, or .txt actually, and semicolon. Cool. Then we have to access the file, whether to read or write from it. In this case, I think we're reading. Yep. So string. Let's go for the password, input password. So this will be to check the password if the user exists. See if it matches the one in the file. So to do that, we use the first line. We read in the first line and store it in this variable. And we'll say input password. Oops. Input password equals input file dot read line. So this reads line by line. Okay, and now we close the file, and that's just input file dot close. Okay, let's remove the spacing. Cool. Now we have to check whether the password matches. So that first line, which is essentially the password in the file, is stored in input password. So now we use an if statement to check if the password text that was entered by the user, okay, is equal to the one we stored in the variable above, input password. Then we make the button visible, which links us to the next form. And in our case, this is btn continue dot visible equals to true. Actually, we have to set it here to false. Visible. Oh, it's already false. Cool. There. And if it doesn't equal that, then we have to provide an error message. So say message box dot show incorrect password or something like that. So oops. Incorrect password. Please re-enter your password. Cool. That's the error message. Now we have to use the catch, okay? So an error that could be thrown is a file not found exception. Basically, we're trying to find a file that was not created. So our catch statement would be catch the exception name, which is file not found exception. Okay. So this will execute if the code in the try block throws an error. Cool. Let's crack there. And basically what we're doing is recreating the file again, so we can actually copy. Oh, see, I've named that wrong everywhere. Is that fine now? Input file. Oh, did I just do that? Cool. Catch. So we're going to use the stream reader. It's the same code basically as above, but actually stream writer, sorry, because we're creating the file again. So from here we're basically using output file. So there's our catch. Let's open bracket. Okay, so stream writer. Why is this error doing? Don't forget to add your system.io here, in case you didn't add that. So this one will be called output file. Okay, output file equals new stream reader. Writer. And remember, it's name plus what did we say? The extension is .txt semicolon. Cool. Go to access the file or write to the file. So this is basically putting the text in the text box. So it's output file dot write line the password. Cool. So password dot txt. Okay. What's up here? What's this? Some more spaces. Close the file. Just output line. File. Let's close. Cool. So that takes care of. Is this a close method? So that takes care of the file not found exception. We basically create the file. Another exception, excuse me, another exception could be the general exception. So what this does is, depending on what the error is, you will get an appropriate error message displayed. So it's general exception. Okay, brackets, and inside there, we're just gonna put through a message box. Dot show, and we can put in general, and we can say plus message. General exception, which is what we created. Dot message. Cool. Something's up there. Semicolon. I'm sorry about that. Okay, and the last thing we have to do is, on this form, is basically, so we check here if the password is equal to each other, then we have to enable this button that we hit. So all we have to do, and then obviously bring up the next form, which is form passwords, form my passwords here. Square my form equals new form my passwords, excuse me, and then we clear our text boxes in here as well. Dot clear. Call txt password dot clear. Getting a statement here. It's my form dot show dialog. Actually, show as well. Show dialog actually. Here we go. So that's the code for the first form. Cool. Now we go to the second one. The second one's easier. It's pretty much the same as the lecture video that we did. So don't forget to also put your statement at the top using system.io. Using system. Gosh. Okay. Why did it do it that way? Looks weird. Okay, so same thing, comments, remember to put your try in. Okay. Open and declare the file. So stream writer, we can call this output file. Oops. Output file equals new, sorry. Then it's down here, then it's output file equals new stream writer. And this file we can actually name, so we can call it passwords, and you put it in inverted commas. So this file, when created, it'll be called passwords. It's a different file. Okay, .txt, don't forget the extension. Okay. Now we're basically sending the file to the access the file via the password and that text box. So this would be output file dot write line. Okay, and then txt, it's the passwords text box. Cool. Don't forget to close, just not close, and then clear. Oops. This text box here is actually this one. Cool. And then it is my passwords that clear. Okay. And then the catch for this is double brackets. Okay. So we're not going to catch a file not found because in this button we create the file as well. As you can see here, this will create that file. So all we're doing here is using the general exception method message. So general exception. Oops. Oops. That's why. Exception. General exception. Okay, and this one will use the message box. So you'll basically say message box show general exception, okay, plus general exception dot message. Cool. Oh, see what I've done there. Missing it there and there. Okay. Ooh, that was a big mistake. So all of this code, basically just cut this out. Sorry about that. It's under the wrong button. This is supposed to be in here. Cool. Because it's the writing part. And now the reading part. So basically what we're doing here is similar. We open the file. So open the file. And then we put it within our try. Okay. And we're going to say stream reader. So now we're reading from the file. Oops. Stream reader. Input file. And then input file. Remember the name of this file is passwords.txt. It's capital P. Oh. With inverted commas. Let me access the file. So access. Okay, so this is, we're going to create the variable all lines. This is getting all the information in the file. So input all lines, let's call it that. And then we set it to input all lines equals input file read line. Okay, this is still reading the first line. Oh, sorry, actually it's read to end. This is all the files, all the information. So this function is read to end. It will read everything in the file till there's nothing left. Okay, and then we have to display it, which is there, and it's the variable input all lines. Okay, and don't forget to close the file. Now we have to use the error handling I'm sorry, exception handling. So our catch statement would be this is the general exception. Exception and then message. Okay, so this message is message box dot show, and it's general exception plus general exception dot message. Cool. Smooth spaces. Remember, for the indentation part, just take away your last bracket and put it back, and all your code will align properly. I think that's it. And if you run this, okay, so let's name it hello Snake 164. 123 is the password. Okay, let's just write to the file. Let's look at the file. You can see I called it. It's in the bin 164, so the file's created, and the password should be 123. Okay. So now, if I log in, 164 password 123 should check the password and display the continue button. Link to the next form. You can write whatever you want in here. And then we write the file, okay, and then I'll read it from the file.